Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson and my brand new co-host, Stephanie Phillips, with Veterans in Politics. Today, we're going to talk to Jessica Goodey, Las Vegas Justice of the Peace, Department number 6. But before we get to Judge Goodey, Stephanie, you have any rants?
I don't have rants, but I have just some announcements. And I just wanted to say this is my first official show as your new co-host.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And you're the first.
And you're
person.
the first.
I mean, she's been on the show before,
Right.
but
Yeah.
officially now she's
Officially.
Yeah.
I've done a bunch of these shows, but this is
Well,
official.
congratulations.
Thanks. And also, it was your birthday.
It
Just
was my birthday.
a week ago, right?
A couple weeks now, yeah.
Do you want to say which birthday it was?
It was a big one. I turned 40.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thank
She's
you.
such a baby.
I know. She's so young compared to us.
I got a son that's 2 years younger than her.
Oh my goodness.
Believe that?
It's crazy.
2 years younger than you.
And I think I would say, is this the first show that you've ever worn a Christmas stocking hat on your head?
I think somebody put one
Did
on my head
Make history with
in
this?
one of the shows. I mean, I've been doing this. Well, next year be 20 years, Miss Phillips.
That's right. 20 years
So
is coming.
I'm
here.
sure I had a Christmas hat on my head 1 or 2 times. Already.
Okay, well,
You're going to have
thank
to go
you.
back and look through
Look
old
for that.
footage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When we first started, we didn't have video. It
No?
was it was just internet. So we advanced to the video. So.
There's still a picture around somewhere.
I'll have to. Mark can look in the archives. And I also wanted to thank everybody for coming to the Christmas party. That was really fun. That turned out well. And thank everybody for the toys that they donated, because the next morning we were out and we delivered all of those to a couple of schools and some needy families, and along with some groceries and things like that. So we appreciate that and appreciate.
You want to name the 2 schools?
Wendell Williams and Hickey Elementary up on Hollywood by Sunrise Mountain.
Yes.
And what else? There was something else. I'll think of it.
And we had approximately, give and take, about 170 people that showed up to the Christmas party. We took over the entire restaurant, Neupitz. The entire restaurant was ours. So
thank you, Neupitz.
and Ron Quince and
Ron
Nico.
Q.
Thank you. So
Yeah, we had a great time. It was good. It turned out good.
yeah, it was real good.
I've been sitting here trying to remember why I couldn't be there.
Yeah, and we missed you.
And I'm so
Amy was
sorry I
a-
missed it. And I had bought concert tickets for that night. I did. Have you seen those ads for like the candlelit string quartet concerts that they do?
Uh-huh.
I was doing that. It was a Christmas one. I had bought those tickets like
Uh-huh.
well before I even knew about your party. So I'm very sorry I missed it. I will be there
We were
next
very,
year.
Very sad. Stephanie was sniffling when she found out you weren't in the crowd.
You know, my sister Redhead was there. You know,
She was.
She'll make
She
a good
was. The
appearance
whole
for me.
Ginger Club wasn't there, but we had one, right?
Yeah,
Out
so
of the
there's 4 redheads and 1 blonde, right?
Brunette.
Brunette. Oh, that's Natalie.
Nadia Wood.
Nadia Wood, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a group text message. It's Nadia and the Ginger judges.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
And you're all beautiful. Every
so
one of
sweet.
you. You're all
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes. Judge Goodey,
Yes.
tell us about yourself.
It's weird for you to hear you call me Judge Goodey, not Jessica.
I have to be official.
I know. I'm still just Jessica. That's okay. I'm not on the bench. I'm not in my robe. So I am serving as your judge in Las Vegas Justice Court, Department 6. I took the bench in January of 2023, so I'm coming up on 2 years now. I have an all civil docket. So I see a lot of credit card collection cases. Unfortunately, a lot of the formal evictions. I don't do all of the summary evictions. We have other hearing masters who do that. But pretty much anything else civil. So people suing each other for money up to $15,000, you're going to come see me or one of my other 2 civil judges.
So have you learned anything different from when you first took the bench until now? Did anything change for you?
Oh, all the things.
Please
all
tell.
the things. You know, what I think is interesting, you know, I was practicing attorney for, I think, 12, 13 years before I took the bench, primarily in the civil world.
Were you at the DA's office or?
No, I was in
PDs?
private practice
Private,
doing
okay.
civil law. So I did complex civil litigation. I did a lot of medical malpractice, personal injury. And so, you know, month-long jury trials in the civil world. And when I knew I wanted to eventually run for judge, I decided I became an arbitrator to kind of get some experience. And then I also served as a alternate judge in the Muni court to again get some experience and make sure that this is what I wanted to do. But then I took the bench on, I think it was January 2nd, and it's just an entirely different world. I hope that I get better every day of trying to have a good judicial demeanor. My philosophy in my court is everybody is treated with kindness, dignity, and respect 100% of the time. So that's something we're always trying to work on, trying to be more efficient with our processes. And then over the last, really it's been this year, I've worked on, with a couple of my colleagues, worked on rewriting the rules of practice for the state as well as for our local courts to make them more understandable and better for the parties rather than better for the court.
Do you have a specialty court that you're in charge of or part of?
Not currently. So most of the new judges, when we come in, we don't have that opportunity to do so. We're in talks right now with our court to see if there's space for me. I would love to have a specialty court, just because I think we all became attorneys because we wanted to do good in the world. And specialty courts, once you become a judge, specialty courts really where you can impact a change, and on a broader scale, and you feel like you're really helping people. There's only so much I can do to help people actually in the cases that I'm overseeing, because it's my job to apply the law. And a lot of times the law is not friendly to people.
So
Well, so on a lot of the cases that I see, it's a credit card collection case, and the defendant will come in and tell me that, they've lost their job, they've had these hard circumstances, the interest rate has ballooned, they've just gotten behind on their payments and they can't afford it and they want some help from me. There's nothing that I can do to actually stop that from going forward. So the only way that I can help and that I try to is I make sure that they're heard, they felt seen, they feel heard and understood, and then that they're treated fairly, and making sure I'm applying the law as it should be, making sure the credit card company has followed the law. There's very specific requirements for what they need to do, and holding them to that. And so both parties are held accountable.
How important is judicial temperament to you?
One of the most important things, probably.
Why is that?
No one's ever going to come into my court and be like, Judge, can't wait to tell you about this great day I just had, right? Like, no one's ever coming in just so excited to see me.
I would do that.
Well, Steve, you might be a little bit of a different breed there. No one is ever really just super excited to come in and have to see me. And for a lot of people, it might be their first time in the judicial system, or if it was in the criminal system, they're scared. They have no idea what to expect. And they've only ever seen TV shows or heard stories about, this mean judge yelling at you and all of that. And so I watch it happen, that they come in and they are just scared and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to stand. They don't know whether they're supposed to sit or stand or when they're allowed to talk. And so that's where judicial temperament comes in, I think, where I have the privilege and the ability to kind of put their mind at ease. And it's still probably going to be a negative experience for them, but I can lessen that stress as much as possible.
When you reach a decision, do you explain it to both parties how you arrived at that decision, or you just say get out of here?
No, always. I think that is part of it. I think that's part of our job, and that's also making sure people understand the law and how it works and why I'm ruling in their favor or against them. I'm trying to think of a good example. A lot of times what happens is somebody was served with a lawsuit, they didn't answer, so a default judgment was entered against them. They forget about it. It's been 6 or 7 years, and then they find the credit card company finds them, figures out where they work, and is able to start garnishing wages. And they're like, wait a second, I didn't know about this, I forgot about it, etc. The law only allows a 6-month timeline to request that the default judgment be set aside. So when they're coming in 2, 3, 4 years later, we are well beyond that.
I have a question. What happens if the defendant or the respondent had no idea because they served by publication.
That is proper service in Nevada.
What happened if they don't know that
That is the
there
law.
was any
That's the law in
judgment against
Nevada.
them?
So in order to be allowed to be served by publication,
Mm-hmm.
the plaintiff had to request permission to do so. And so a judge needed to review it and say, yes, you've demonstrated sufficient due diligence to try to find them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not answering the door. You've done a search. This is their correct address. You just can't find them. When they're served by publication, they're also required to mail it to the last known address. I recognize nobody reads. Sorry, Nevada Legal News. Nobody reads your paper.
That's true. Who
Right?
reads Nevada Legal News?
Nobody reads anything anyway. They don't
Right.
read invitations, any social media posts, no
Right.
instructions.
Much less Nevada Legal News.
Right.
I am fully aware of that. I knew that when I was a practicing attorney.
They don't even read the RJ, and they're going to read Nevada Legal News.
Does it have to be published in there for so many days, weeks for
Yeah,
that?
depending on the type of case. Generally, it's once a week for 5 weeks. And then it needs to be mailed to the
Mail.
last known address.
Certified or just regular mail?
Regular mail. Because certified, then they would have to go and pick it up. And then if nobody goes to pick it up. But the idea with the mailing, at least in my mind.
But how do you have any proof that it was mailed if it's not certified?
They file an affidavit of service saying it was published on these dates and it was mailed on this date to this
They
address.
still could lie, though.
Sure. Absolutely.
But who reads your legal news? Who's gonna see that?
I understand. I do.
And it's a private company,
That's
too.
a law.
Nevada Legal News.
We gotta change the law.
Scott Shelby, I think.
I'm not sure
Who I think he's the one that owns Nevada Legal News, and it's a private. It's not even a government
That should not be allowed.
platform.
Legislature?
No, well, it's
We gotta
actually-
work on that.
It's not a legislative thing. It's
Oh,
our rules of civil procedure. So it's they're approved by the Supreme Court and then they go into effect. So that's actually one of the things that I've worked on this last year again with some of my colleagues across the state is we updated those rules. For our district courts, they did that about 5 years ago. We kind of piggybacked off of the work that they did, and so there's additional ways. It used to be if you couldn't serve them personally, the next thing you would do is serve by publication. We've expanded that to allow service by other ways. So if you have proof that you have an email address that you regularly email them, you can now email them. And the standard is whatever way is most likely to get them actual notice. And so you still have to get permission from the judge to be allowed to do it. And there's a whole set of factors we look at, but we wanted to expand it, recognizing nobody ever reads Nevada.
So you
legal
guys
news.
made this up. That rule.
Yes.
Is it part of your
And
canons?
there's two different sets. There's the Nevada Rules of Civil Procedure and then the Justice Court Rules of Civil Procedure.
Okay.
Those have been in effect for, I don't know how long, a long time.
It's not part of the canons, is it?
No. So it's a special set of rules that dictate how all cases proceed through the civil litigation process. So the Nevada Rules of Civil Procedure apply to the district court, so the trial court level. They updated theirs in 2019, I believe. And so when I came on the bench, I was like, hey guys, we probably need to update these to match what they're doing in the district court. And so that's what I've been working on. So we've gotten them updated. And so we submit a request with our proposed revisions. It goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court reviews it. They open it up for comment to attorneys and members of the community. If they have any interest, they take those comments and then they revise them, accept them, reject our revisions, whatever they want to do.
So you're thinking about running for chief judge?
I did not see that. That's Steve, you're going to get me in trouble. That's how rumors get started.
26th election is right around the corner.
Let me be clear about that. No. It's going to get me in trouble.
What's next after your term, though?
Another term, hopefully, of the voters of
How long
Las
have you practiced
Vegas.
law in the state?
Since 2010. So,
Okay, so it's 2010. So it's 10 years for district, right?
yes.
So you've already surpassed.
I
your-
am technically eligible to run for district court.
Okay, so if you run for district court right now in 26,
Mhm.
you don't give up you don't vacate your justice seat.
Correct.
So you still have your justice seat. And if you run for district court, you might win.
Sure.
And if you don't, you have nothing to lose. You just go back to JP, right?
Sure.
So,
and then I get an opponent in 28 when I gotta run to retain my seat.
But if you run in 26, your name will be out there, and probably nobody will want to run against you in 28.
Well, but unless I just lost an election, that's not a good look.
Well, this district, you're not losing your JP seat.
Yeah.
So have you ever considered running for district court? Every seat's up. I mean, you got your pickings right there.
Yes. So full candor, I've thought about it. And I will
think about it some more.
I vacillate quickly from, oh yeah, that sounds like it would be good, it'd be interesting. And then I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I have been able to do some really cool things in my seat as the Justice Court. And I think that there's still more things that I can do as a JP.
You got 2 years to do
it. So, well, I got at least 4 more years to do it.
No, because by then you'll be district court. I got plans for you.
You got to work quick, Jessica.
I see this. As I was driving here, I was like, I bet he's going to ask me about if I'm going to run for district court.
Of course.
I've had attorneys ask me to do it because that's primarily where my practice was. And we, in general, I believe, need more attorneys with similar experience as I have on our trial court level, because you're handling very serious criminal cases. We have a lot of judges who have that criminal background. We're handling very serious civil cases as well, and not as many of our judges have that background. And it's not to say that the former DA and PDs can't learn it, but there's a learning curve. Just like there would be a huge learning curve for me to take over a felony murder trial. Not saying I couldn't do it, it would just be different. And when you're, dealing with people's lives and livelihoods, and
you've been to judicial college, right?
Oh yes.
How long was that course for?
It's a 2-week course. So
where was it held?
It's the National Judicial College is in Reno.
Okay.
It's at UNR. Okay. So all judges are required to take it.
What was that training thing that you were telling us earlier?
So that's one of
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things I've gotten to do over the last 2 years. So like I said, when I took the bench, and there were five judges that came in with me, and then across the state there were 14 or 15 new judges, and in the limited jurisdiction level, so justice courts and muni courts. So there were 15 Nevada judges at Judicial College, which was great. It was a great bonding experience. We learned a lot, but we were 6 months into our term. So we had already been being a judge for 6 months before they taught us how to be a judge. And so
the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in talking with my fellow judges, we're like, we want to change this, and how can we do, what can we do? And one of the more interesting things with Nevada is that we, outside of our big metropolitan areas, you don't have to be an attorney to be a judge. And so in a lot of our smaller rural jurisdictions, so it's the same thing. We have somebody who's never been an attorney, who is now a judge and has no legal training, making decisions about people's lives. And so I got involved with the Association of Limited Jurisdiction Judges very early on in my judicial term. And through that, I created, and with help of my colleagues, we created we're still working on the name, but the New Judges Training Academy, or the New Judges Education, where we put together a week-long program. All of the new limited jurisdiction judges came down to Las Vegas. They were shadowing my fellow justices in the morning so they could get real life experience and see how judges are running their courtrooms. And we put them with three or four different judges so they could see different styles and different management and different types of cases. And then in the afternoon, we had substantive education. And so that was the second week of December. It unfortunately got interrupted by something, but we're continuing it. I actually just had a Zoom meeting today to give that education, still get that education to our new judges. And so we're trying to get them all the things they need so they can start on January 6th and feel a little bit more confident. And then it's also, it helps protect the community and our state as a whole, because if they know what probable cause is for a search warrant, when they take the bench, it's a lot less likely somebody's constitutional rights are going to be violated, or they may not approve a warrant that maybe should have been granted because they didn't understand the process. So we're trying to help that. So I'm really excited about it. I wish it would have been around for me. So I've identified things like, I wish this would have been here for me. So let me help our future new judges.
What do you look for because you have search warrant duties, right?
Yes.
I think it's a month?
No, we do. For Las Vegas Justice Court, we have it a week at a time.
That's a week at a time.
Which is a long time, because we're on call 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And so over the course of the night, we get anywhere, between like 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., we get anywhere between 7 to 20 calls. And so it's a lot.
You're not sleeping.
We're not sleeping, but then we still have our regular job to do during the day.
Right.
And so.
You get calls on the bench too?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've had to interrupt court before because I had a SWAT situation going on, and I was like, okay, everybody hold here for a second. I'm going to go listen to this. But it's probably the most difficult part is the inability to get a good night's sleep and still maintain good decision making, good judicial demeanor, because it's not the people.
Do you think that could be fixable? I mean, what would you
I'm
think
trying.
with that? Because you seem like a fix-it person.
I try to be. I don't like to identify problems without having a solution. We've talked a lot about it amongst our bench, and every jurisdiction does it differently. Mm-hmm. And so we're talking about it. And right now, we're not going to change our actual schedule. Mm-hmm. And we've just agreed that if you want to pair up with another judge to split the week, and you guys split each other's weeks, so I'm on for 3 days, and then let's say Amy Wilson covers for me. So I'd be on for 3 or 4 days during my week, and then she'd cover the rest. And when it's her week, we'd flip those. And I have a really great set of colleagues where if I were to send out a text and say, guys, I didn't get any sleep last night, I need somebody to take the phone for me tonight, they would. Any number of them would just cover for it. So we all have each other's backs, which is nice.
Yeah, I remember when Judge Martin Hastings had somebody take the calls for him. Mm-hmm. It was a to-do with Judge Cedric Kearns, and it was a to-do. Mm-hmm. That's one way to put it. Have you heard that story? Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. But we've been vetting judges and attorneys over the past several weeks now, going into 25. And we've been looking for quality judges to go to the district court bench. And I think that you should be one of those.
I'll think about it. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I
mean. You're not losing anything.
This isn't the last time you're going to hear from this. We're going to call you to, sit down and have lunch or something, and, he'll twist your arm some more.
Because
just kidding.
Because what we're trying,
where'd those clean tissues go? You asked if I was going to cry.
What we're trying to do is clear out the justice court bench and put them into the district court, so the county commission will have all these vacancies. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Well, I can't speak to that. I appreciate.
Because the county commission is the ones that
would have to fill the seats and then the election and all of that. No, I appreciate the kind words and the support. You guys have always been so supportive of me, and I really truly appreciate that. And I appreciate that you're vetting judges and trying to find good people to fill those seats. Judicial elections are just their own weird kind of animal.
They are.
And it's very difficult for the voters to have any idea who they're voting for.
We have a plan for that too.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you this. So many people, they don't know the judicial candidates at all. And you guys, you do the mixers and you do the events as much as you can, but to draw people, down there to meet you guys. Yeah. And it's something I think people shy away because they think, well, I'm not going to be in that courtroom. I'm not going to be, that's just something that's not going to affect me, but you never know.
Everybody's going to meet a judge at some point in their life.
It could affect you.
They're going to.
But what is a better way? What would you suggest? Because you've been out there on the campaign trail.
For campaigning?
Getting people to you, involved, to get people interested to come down and to meet you guys. Are you guys out in the community more? What would you suggest to get people?
I have no idea.
No?
So it's such a hard thing. So, I mean, you guys saw me when I was out campaigning. I was out. I tried to be at multiple events every day. Because I had my own practice, I had the ability to do that where I could work in the middle of the night and, actually run my practice and campaign during the day. I won't have that flexibility because I have a job to do. And, the government and the community certainly expects me to be at my job during the day. But even for as active as I was, I estimate on a good day, maybe I met 10,000 people total over the course of my 10-month-long campaign. 10,000 people.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? Like that's a lot of hands to shake. And they generally say for every
sanitizers, which you
okay. I have a great immune system now.
All the time.
I had a great immune system. It's like a school teacher, right? There's no germs that their body can't handle after that.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, so for every hand you shake, it's worth 3 votes. It's them, their spouse, and somebody else. Some are worth more. Some are worth just that person. On average, let's say 3. So 30,000 people knew they were voting for me, like knew something about me and knew who they were voting for.
Mm-hmm.
In the general election, I think there was, and I don't remember whether it was 500,000 people total who voted in my election or 500,000 people who voted for me. Mm-hmm. I have no idea where those additional people that I didn't meet, got their information. I am happy they did. I think I was the most qualified candidate. But to answer your question, judicial candidates are hard because we're dealing with such a large number of constituents without the money of, Congress people, the statewide races they're dealing with as many people as we are. I think a social media campaign. I had a great social media manager that really helped.
Does anybody come sit in your courtroom and observe? Do you have very many?
From time to time, not a ton of them. Even I still try to be out in the community now, and even when I do see people, I invite them. My courtroom is open, and my courtroom is always on Zoom. So if I am holding court, my Zoom link is active, so somebody can log on. They don't even have to come down; they can log on to Zoom and see how I hold court. So
you're transparent like that.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And so that's always open. So if you're watching and you want to come and watch me on Zoom, if you go to the Las Vegas Justice Court, find Department 6, you will find my Zoom link on there. And my staff is going to ask you to identify yourself in the chat box, and you just let them know that you're observing. And as long as you stay quiet and don't interrupt court, you can sit there. You can observe every day if you'd like. It's not a problem.
I like that.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Because we're putting back together our court observing program.
Yeah.
Because we want to, go visit all the judges at least once or twice over the course of 2025.
That's ambitious.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
there's a lot of courrooms for that.
There's a lot of them. That also includes the Supreme Court as well.
Yeah.
So, we just judges are just like, for me, they're.
Yeah. Well,
I can't speak for Ms. Phillips over there, but for me, they're.
It's so important.
Oh yeah.
Because it's. Our Congress people are making the laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they are affecting the lives of a lot of people. Not always in an immediate way, sometimes, but not always. But most of the time when the law, especially on a federal level or even a state level, when it changes, there's not usually an immediate impact on a single individual's life. When they come into my courtroom, when I make my decision, and if it's a final decision, there's an immediate impact on that person's life and their family life and whatever else is affecting it. And that's true for my colleagues in the criminal aspect, right? So that person's either going to jail or not. They've got to serve probation or not. They've got to take these classes or not. Like there's an immediate impact in that person's life. And especially with what we do, and we call the Justice Court the People's Court because you don't need an attorney to come down and protect your rights and things like that. But most of the time, if you're going to come into contact with an elected official, it's going to be your justice court judge. And so the decisions we're making has an immediate impact on their life. And so we want to make sure we have good judges making those decisions.
I have never walked into a courtroom for myself without counsel. But I remember I used to do collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I was representing my company, or I was representing a client. So that was different.
Yeah.
Wasn't me that was going to get beat up.
Right.
But I always tell people, if you walk into a courtroom, make sure you have legal representation with you, because the law is very tricky. There's so many different, things about the law that you don't know that you could use, and sometimes the judges don't even know. They had to look that up. Go to the law clerk. Hey, look that up. I don't know. Let me take this under advisement.
Yeah.
And I would rather a judge take something under advisement than just blur something out that's incorrect.
Oh, absolutely.
And they get overturned or appeal or motion for reconsideration or what have you. And speaking of motion for reconsideration, have you ever had those, or have you ever had anything appealed or reversed or anything like that since you've been on the bench?
Have I had any? I know I've had things appealed. I don't know if I've been reversed. It's not something I've paid attention to. I haven't had something come back to where I would need to make a second decision on it following an appeal. Okay. So I don't know the answer to that, at least to my recollection.
So you got a 100% record as far as
I hope. I hate to,
you're going to look that up.
Oh, I am. Of course I am.
Next time we have you on, we're going to ask again.
Of course I am. It's not something it's easily trackable, but my JEA is incredible. And if I ask her, I'm like, follow these appeals and see if we've had any that have come back that we've been reversed on.
Mm-hmm. So what did you look for in a JEA when you were picking?
So my JEA was sitting, was in the department before I got there.
Who was before you?
So it was the elected judge was Rebecca Kern. Okay. She elected to resign and not run for re-election. So she didn't even finish her term. They filled it with a long-term pro tem.
Who's that pro tem, by the way?
It was Holly Staberski.
Oh, okay.
And so Shelby stayed on, and I'd had two different people from two very different areas of my life say, hey, if you need a JEA, you should talk to Shelby. And so after I came out of the primary, I took her for lunch, and I said, hey, look, this person recommended you.
Shelby got lunch.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get lunch.
And so, yeah.
We'll schedule it after this.
And she was amazing. And then when it got closer to the general election, somebody else had said, hey, are you thinking about hiring Shelby? I was like, I think so. And we had stayed in touch, and she was very supportive of my campaign and all of that. She had her kids like walking around and putting my cards with their neighbors and things like that. And it's a match made in heaven. Like, she's incredible. She's smart. She's been working in the court system since she was like 18, I think. Mm-hmm. She knows her stuff.
So she probably knows me then.
Potentially, yeah. So the two things that I asked, I get to hire two people. I get to hire my marshal, and I get to hire my JEA. Mm-hmm. And I said, can you be nice to people even when they're assholes to you? Like that. Excuse my language.
Your marshal?
I asked that of my marshal, and I asked it of my JEA. Because again, people are going to come in and they're going to be jerks, and your job is to still be
Nobody
nice
wants
to
to
them.
go to the courthouse except for the people that work there.
Right. And half the time they don't either. Like,
They're leaving early if they can. Don't we track how many hours?
Are they getting their nails done on Friday at 11?
How much time are you really in that courthouse?
I could tell you some horror stories.
I'm sure you could. I have no comment on any of that. For the record,
she doesn't know anything.
She don't know anything. She
doesn't hear
on
anything,
Fridays
see nothing.
Off. We're a 4-day-a-week court, so I may get my nails done Friday at 11, but that is my day off.
For the record.
Just so we're clear.
For the record.
For the record. She goes, I put my 40 hours in from Monday through Thursday.
Right. Oh, and I still work on Fridays. The good part about what I do is so much of my job is off the bench. I am reading, I'm writing, I'm preparing for my calendar, I'm signing orders.
You ever thought about a pellet?
No,
Okay.
not my.
Not your.
No, even when I was a practicing attorney, I like being in the court. I like trials. I like, the immediate kind of drama of it all, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Right.
So for me, I can work from home other than when I'm in court. I can do my entire job from home. And so I work Friday, Saturday, Sundays most of the time. And so I have that ability. So.
Okay. So I know I tried to ask this earlier. I want to know if your mindset shifted a little bit from being a practicing attorney to being a sitting judge.
My perspective certainly changed.
It did. How so?
Well, it's a weird transition, and it's very difficult to explain it. But to go from being an advocate to being an impartial neutral to the decision maker,
that's a huge
shift. It is,
Yeah.
and it comes up when, like, for example, if I'm in trial and it's a bench trial, or even if it's a jury trial, and there's an objection to be made, or there's a way that they should be presenting the evidence differently, and I've just got to sit there and just be like, I'm taking my notes, not saying anything, because it would obviously be inappropriate for me to do so. And so just keeping in mind that it's not my job to try the case anymore. It's my job to rule on the issues that they're putting in front of me, not other issues that I identify.
You ever said in your mind, I wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have presented that evidence?
Maybe once or twice. Maybe.
So have you locked anybody up yet? Because you could lock somebody up for 6 months, right?
I can.
You don't have a criminal calendar.
I don't have a criminal calendar, so I was trying to think about it. I got really close to holding the first person in contempt.
How close were you?
If she would have shown up to court, she probably would have been arrested.
Oh, wow.
It was probably in her best interest that she didn't show up.
What did she do or didn't do?
Allegedly violated my order to stay out of a house that she had been evicted from multiple times.
I know you judges hate that.
Yeah. It seems that the issue has been resolved, and so it's all good.
Have you ever walked through the CCDC?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've done now a couple of tours through there.
Okay.
And then I will fill in, just because I have a more flexible schedule than my criminal judge colleagues. If they need coverage and I don't have anything on my calendar, I happily go sit for them. And so I've definitely remanded people when I'm covering for them.
Ms. Phillips?
You said you worked on the evictions and there were so many backlogged during COVID.
Yes.
Have those all been worked through the system now? 'Cause
Yes.
It seemed like there was, 2-3 year backlog?
Yeah, no, so we are actually setting, I think we're generally setting about 30 days out. So from when the landlord files the complaint and there's an answer, we're about 30 days before the hearing takes place. And now I'm just going to...
That's not bad.
No, I'm going to take over and give a shout out to educate anybody who's watching. We have an amazing eviction diversion program. And so if you are facing eviction and it's for non-payment of rent only. So if you just can't get caught up in your rent and you're facing eviction, come down to court, file your answer, fill it out. If you are over, it's either 62 or 65, I don't remember, or you receive disability, you qualify. And so you will be hand walked over to our social services team, who will then do the interview with you. And we are generally getting those appointments within 21 days, so before the eviction hearing. And if you are approved, they will pay your back rent plus 3 months forward.
Wow.
Oh,
And
that's
so-
good to know.
65 and on
Wow.
disability.
Or.
So veteran disability works too?
I think I'm not in charge of what is eligible, but if you mark the box that you're on, they will discuss eligibility with you. So up until we started this program in the beginning of 23, basically end of 23, beginning of 24, we kind of revamped the program because we had CHAPS and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The eviction diversion program doesn't stay the eviction
Okay.
unless the landlord agrees to it. But CHAPS was a whole big thing and it was delayed for 6 months and all of this kind of stuff. We've revamped it to where it's, I think under CHAPS, we had like a 25%.
What is CHAPS?
It was from,
What's the acronym?
I don't know the answer to that. Something housing and assistant program, something.
Because when you said CHAPS, I'm thinking about those things those cowboys wear.
Hey, behave.
Just talk to me.
Yeah, I'm going to focus over here now.
Is that program on the website where people can read about that?
It is. So if you go into our, like on the, and that's the other thing, not having counsel, we have a very robust civil law self-help center that has a lot of forms on there just that are online that you can fill out, file it online. You don't even have to come to the court. If you come to the court, we have people that can help you fill it out. But on the tenant's answer, so if you get the 5 or 7 day pay or quit notice, go and file an answer, fill it out. They will tell you if you're eligible for it or not. And then if you are, we've got, even if you're not eligible for this program, we can put you in this other program. There's a lot of different things we have been able to do. Our success rate is something like 73 or 75%.
That's awesome.
Huge. And so we've been working on expanding it. It hasn't been applying to our mobile home park communities.
Why not?
So it in our regular summary eviction, so for housing, apartment, all of that, the eviction process is a little bit different than our normal civil cases. So the landlord goes and posts the notice, and then to start the case, the tenant has to file an answer. If the tenant doesn't file an answer, then the eviction is just granted and it's done. If the tenant files an answer, then it starts the hearing process. For mobile home parks, they fall under a different statutory scheme. And so they're considered formal evictions, not our summary evictions. And so it follows the normal civil process where there's a filing of a complaint, maybe there's a filing of an answer, but it's a different answer, and they don't even have to file an answer. If they just show up in my court on the court date and say, hey, here's what's going on, I take that evidence in. So we're trying to figure out how we can expand it into there, because I had a lady come in. She was facing eviction. She clearly qualified on age and disability, and she said she had just lost her husband. And then shortly after, she had lost her son, and she could pay her rent going forward. She just couldn't get caught up and couldn't pay the late fees and things like that. And
those
so
late fees are mothered, though.
Well, and it just
there's a cap on
it's a
them now.
snowball. And she's on a fixed income, and so all the things happen. So I asked the landlord and the landlord's attorney if they would be willing to try it out and see if we could get her approved for it. And so then on Thursday, this past Thursday, I got notice that she'd been approved for it. All of her back rent was paid 3 months going forward, and then she was going to be good. So
how did that make you feel?
Awesome.
Remember how I said I don't get a lot of good days in my court? Like there's not a lot I can do to help. That was one of the things, and it was going right into the Christmas season. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt so good. And I think the landlord felt good because I think they felt bad. She was a good tenant. She just couldn't pay. So
it was a win-win all around.
Oh, it was a happy day all around. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping.
I like to hear stories like that. By the way.
Me too. Yeah. I'm hoping we can expand that into our mobile home park communities to get more people help. And so again, if you are facing eviction, at least look into it, see if you qualify. It's saving a lot of people from getting kicked out of their homes.
Did you touch upon that judicial college thing you was working on? Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we talked about
that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So Jessica, what's next for you? I
got Christmas Eve lunch tomorrow.
Don't let him lead you down that path again.
I have Christmas Eve lunch tomorrow, and then I cook Christmas dinner for my family. That's like the immediate. I gotta go to Trader Joe's and Albertsons tonight to get food, so I can cook on Wednesday. That's what's next for me.
He's really trying to push that district court judge thing on me.
I knew where you're going. Yeah, I got some gifts I got to wrap tonight.
You know what? We go after judges that we don't think that should be on the bench. So when we start saying that, hey, you need to move up, that's like
it says a lot to me. I know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I truly appreciate it, and I'm flattered,
See
honored.
that?
Maybe.
She says maybe. She goes, you just try to
our
put me to
favorites.
work. I got to go to this and that. I got campaign. I got this and that.
That's right.
So, but
Maybe.
anyways, is there anything that we didn't touch upon you'd like to?
No, I mean, I think we talked about, I mean, again, it doesn't always feel like we're doing a lot of good in the community. So we talked about some of the things I'm trying to do, and that I think Las Vegas Justice Court is trying to do. I mean, we have specialty courts, and I don't know who you've had on so far to talk about those specialty courts, but we have a mental health court now. That was Judge Wood who helped get that up and going. We have our Veterans Treatment Court. We have our
There's harmonies on that one. Right?
Judge Letitia's on that one. We have our community court, which is really incredible. It's for our unhoused population. Going to those graduations, something special, because we have people who were, living in the tunnels 6 months ago, and now they have a house and they have a job and they have their ID and they have, a steady life for the first time in years. And so it's again, one of those things we're trying to wrap around services for some of our most vulnerable people. Right. And the recidivism rate for those people who graduate from our specialty courts is so low. It's money and time well spent for the right people.
Okay. Do you feel safe in the courthouse?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time. We have.
Improve, if anything.
That's a hard question. So it's something I talk with my marshal about. My marshal is incredible. And we've done some things in our courtroom to minimize safety risks. There have been some threats against me.
Really? Just tell me about them.
I can't. No, I can't right
she
now.
She says I can't.
And so we've done some things to address that. When there's the very infamous jumping over the bench scenario. We reassess some things in our courtroom. For the most part, when people come up, and because I don't have a criminal docket, it's a little bit easier. I have everybody sit down. That's a couple extra seconds before they can make it to my bench. But we've done trainings and drills to practice hitting the emergency button. So
You carry a weapon?
I do not.
Can you?
I can.
She can.
I do not.
And she should.
Everybody says that.
Do you have a CCW?
I do not.
Jessica.
I know.
There was something else I wanted.
I probably shouldn't have just admitted that as, yes,
I
I do carry a weapon.
No.
Yes, she does. And yes.
My marshal is going to watch this, and then he's going to sign me up for a class
You
next
should've-
week.
You should have played the fifth one. I wouldn't have answered it.
I did not.
I wouldn't ask you that question.
But we've asked other judges.
No, we have not. I've asked them off camera.
Well, maybe, yeah. But I
my
think
marshal's
that
going to
it's
sign me up next week. He said, we're going to go get you. You just admitted.
No, you definitely
no.
have
It's
to.
It's important. I think it's
Then
important.
he's going to say, don't
for
go
all
on their
women.
show anymore.
Right.
Who's that Stephanie Phillips asking you that
Right.
question?
He's gonna yell at me.
I mean, I would.
I know.
I would. I'd be
Why
like,
did you
why
admit
did you
that?
even answer it?
Yeah.
You should have said, I don't want to talk
I
about
wasn't
that.
thinking about it.
Anyway.
Yeah, he gets mad at me, not always being the most safety minded. But that's his job.
Anyway,
So.
you got 87 views so far as we talked.
All right. Is that good?
Oh, that's very good.
Oh, good. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. And
It's all the Christmas colors
Right?
in here.
as I was getting dressed, I worked from home this morning, and so I got dressed for this, and I was like, during Christmas, I wear a different Christmas outfit every day. I love Christmas, and I love shiny things.
Shiny
I do
things.
too.
Diamonds,
Well, yeah.
silver, gold.
Shiny sequin, sparkly things. And so I was like, all right, I should probably not want to wear one of my very obnoxious light up sweaters and things like that. I was like, got a green dress and red shoes. We're gonna go with it. was like, I hope they don't have a green screen behind me. This is going to be a little awkward. I'll just be a floating head.
Oh no, we don't do the green screen. Although we did talk about that at one particular time. Miss Phillips, do you have anything else for Judge?
No, I
Goodey?
just wanted to say a little closing remark. Thanks for coming on right before Christmas. I know you've got a lot of things to do.
I know we talked about trying to get me on earlier, and I'm like, I am not available until this day.
This is fine.
Yeah.
No, this was good.
fine.
And happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
And I just wanted to say to everybody, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because we won't be on again till what, January? After the first of the year?
I think we have one just before. We have one on the 30th.
Okay, gotta look at the
Yeah, we
calendar.
have a show on the 30th, I believe.
But Merry Christmas to everybody. And last week or the show before, I said if anybody needs help with food or any Christmas toys or anything, please get in contact with me because we can help you with that. And also to our veterans and the ones who can't be home with their families and they're overseas and serving. We thank you so much. We are so grateful for you. And we pray for your safety and for your families back here at home. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
Well, Miss Goodey, thank you. Judge Goodey, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Of course.
Ms. Phillips, thank you so much. Folks, that's Jessica Goodey, Las Vegas Justice of the Peace, Department 6. And I need you folks to reach out to Judge Goodey. You know what, Judge Goodey, I forgot to say to you that you're supposed to have a closing, and you're supposed to tell folks whatever you want to say, and if you want to give a point of contact, you can, but you don't have to.
Sure.
And just, whatever you want to say, you want to tell them Merry Christmas, jump off of a lake, whatever.
I don't know how you jump off of a lake, but I will say ditto to everything that Stephanie said.
Mark is going to zoom in on you, by the way.
There we go. I'm just going to say ditto to everything that Stephanie said. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really, truly appreciate the opportunity and all of the support you have given me. For anyone out there, if there's ever anything I can do, you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. It's Jessica Goodey for Judge. It was very original when I came up with the handle, obviously. That's always a good way to get in contact with me, or you can reach out to my chambers. Las Vegas Justice Court Department 6, go through my JEA. I need to make sure I'm not having any sort of ex parte communication. But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. I will be praying for all of our troops, both those that are home and those that are away. My nephew just graduated from the Marine Corps, and right?
Yeah.
My dad, he did it in footsteps of my dad, who helped raise him.
Where did he go?
He was in San Diego.
Oh, he's a Hollywood. They call him Hollywood Marine.
Yeah. And so he told me, he's coming to my house for Christmas because he was injured. And so he's, just from training.
Okay.
Before he gets shipped out, he's got to go to Quantico for additional training. So he gets to come home, but I'll get more information about what he's doing. But the services have a special place in my heart. So thank you for all you do. And for the families, thank you for your sacrifice. And just Merry Christmas. Love one another.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Judge Goodey. Thank you so much, Ms. Phillips. I'm doing that all over again. Folks, that's Jessica Goodey, Las Vegas Justice of the Peace, Department 6. And folks, like I said earlier, we're vetting judges, and we're trying to put really good judges on the bench. And if you feel that Judge Goodey should be a district court judge, call up her chambers and say, hey, Judge Goodey, we really would appreciate you move up the ladder and go to district court to kind of like help her make up her mind. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I'm not going to say Happy New Year because we have one show before the New Year's, but Merry Christmas. And this is Steve Sampson, Stephanie Phillips with Veterans in Politics. Until next time.